Hey guys, thanks for watching today's ticker analysis. This ticker is QS. Here's the full daily chart for QS. I'll zoom out so you can see the whole thing. These are the SMAs that I use. The yellow is the 100 and the red is the 200-day SMA. You can see that those aren't even applicable here because the chart is just way too young. Can't even use them, so I'm going to turn them off. The 50 SMA, we can use that one. It's pretty interesting. So I've already looked at this chart and I've done some drawings, so I'm going to show you guys what I've seen. So we can see when this ticker opened, we had a little bit of a build-up and then we just took off and we've been pulling back ever since. So what we're trying to find right now is where is the bottom for QS? How low can we go? Are we ever going to try to go back to where we were before? So what I can see here is a trend line, but I'm not sure how valid this is since there is a lot of space between the start and the beginning, but I found this on the weekly. So if you go to the weekly, it can be more valid because you can see that we're touching at the very beginning, we touched here, and now we're touching here on weeks. Now weeks are stronger resistance points, or sorry, support levels to use for things like this. So I'm gonna think that this trend line is going to be pretty decent. So we could be heading back down towards this trend line. But another thing I noticed is the SMA 50, the purple one, which I spoke about earlier. We've been following this all the way down. We keep on trying to make an attempt to get over this SMA 50 and we just can't do it. So I'm keeping an eye on the SMA 50 and at the same time looking for solid resistance levels. And here I have one here at 24.47. At one point we were heading back up, we rejected it, came back down, went back up, rejected it, came back down, went back up, rejected it. We have a lot of resistance there at that level. So we want to try and get back to that level. If we can clear that level, then we can attempt to go back to where we came from. But the first step is getting back to that level. At this point, we are still making a slow trek down towards this trend line. So what we want to see is some sort of support level holding, heading back to this level, and then I would be interested for another entry. I have done entries. I did one here to try and get a piece of this action, but when I saw bouncing off the SMA is when I closed my position. So at this point I'm not interested, not until I see clearing this SMA or attempting at that level. So that is about it, but if looking at the hourly very quick, today we can see we had a little bit of a bull flag. Maybe tomorrow might be a good day. So looking forward to tomorrow to see what QS has in store. Okay, next up we have NIO, NIO. Most people know NIO is quite the beast. When it moves, it can move hard. We haven't had the same volume lately that we can have in NIO, but I'm always watching it because it's a ticker that I do like to play. So we have all of our SMAs here. We're able to use all of them. We can see that it's been pretty strong from the beginning. We came out pretty strong and it was slow inclined. Yes, we pulled back. That's a substantial pullback. I actually was not surprised by that pullback whatsoever. We have started to move up again, pull back again. We never go straight up. So this chart looks really healthy to me. Now the SMA 100 is a quick way to tell where we are in terms of strength, whether we're in a complete uptrend or a complete downtrend. So you can see that we are below the SMA 100. I'm going to turn off the other ones just to make it more clear. We touched it briefly on the way up, rejected a little, came back down. So this is one that I'm keeping an eye on for this chart. But I did draw something here as well, which is a trend line that I feel looks better to me than any of these SMAs, other than this one, which is showing some resistance. The trend line that I have is for support, and you can see we had it at the beginning, we've followed it, we've come back down to it, touched it, jumped off of it, touched it, and now we've been riding it for the last little while here. We keep on bouncing off of it. So as long as we keep bouncing off this trend line, it's very healthy. And what we want to see is NIO to once again get over this SMA. We got over it here, got way over it, came back down. And now we've attempted to go over it, but we have pulled back again. So we want to see NIO making another attempt at this SMA. Do we see any support? Any daily double bottoms? I don't see anything jumping out at me here. So what we're looking at is hoping for a bounce off this trend line. Today's low was lower than yesterday, so there's no guarantee that we're going to go up tomorrow. Looking at NIO on the hourly now, I do see something which may be an inverse head and shoulders. You can see we have a double top here on the pre-market. We dropped, and this is an inverse head. This would be the shoulder, this would be the head, this would be the other shoulder. So I will try to just draw this shoulder, head, sometimes people just don't envision things the way that I do, so I just draw them just to make it a little bit more obvious. So if this does play out, then we could see perhaps going up to test this double top tomorrow. So this is something to watch for tomorrow. And now we have CCJ. I'm just going to zoom out to the weekly here so we can see this chart has some history behind it from 1996. Got a lot that we can look at here. It's the weekly chart. But since we're on the weekly chart, I will show you a level that I'm looking at today. We hit 2317, which is a pretty significant level on this weekly chart here. So we rejected from it a little bit, and we pulled back, but yet we've closed today. So this is 3 days back on the daily time frame. We closed today with what almost looks like a bullish hammer. So this, we could actually make another attempt at this tomorrow. But if you're not in a position here, I wouldn't be entering something at this point, just because although this chart is very strong, I mean, we've run, look at all the days we've run like in a row. So we were down here and we've had nothing but green days all the way up. So at some point we're going to have some consolidation. Now, whether or not that's going to come sooner rather than later, that's debatable. So if you're in a position, I wouldn't be exiting at this point. I would wait to see what's going to happen with this level here. And then at this point, we can see what happens, whether or not we want to hold this position, take profit, or double down, or whatever it is you want to do on this position. But we're at a key spot here. See what happens tomorrow on this level, and that will give things away as to where we're going to go next. One thing to note here is you can see how we were getting all this red bear volume, and now we're getting lots of green bull volume. So that's looking really good for this ticker. There could be more good things to come. So if in a position, hold. And I will revisit this one in a couple days. Good luck. Okay, looking at LAIX. This chart, let's see, goes back to 2018. So we have a few years to look at in terms of history. It's been downtrending since the beginning. It looks like we're at the end of our fifth wave here. We could be starting to head back up to wave A, and that would be a little bit of a correction. So this is a possible area for that upward correction to take place. So the one thing I could find down here is, again, another trend line. Not that many levels that we're bouncing off, so it's not that strong of a trend line, but we are starting to make our way up. And again, here we have bounced off the SMA 50, rejected it a little, come back down. But this trend line shows us going in an upward fashion. So what we want to do here is make our way up above this yellow SMA 100 and get into a daily uptrend, and then that would confirm that we are indeed correcting. But for now, it's not the strongest chart. Today we just have a range to watch from yesterday, because This is called the daily inside bar. Yesterday we closed up here. Today we don't have a higher high or a lower low. We're basically inside yesterday's range. So what I do is lock my tools, and then I'll zoom in here and I can see this range, and this is how I find the EQs. We have an hour in the EQ here that we can watch, and I mean, it's pretty tight. So a tight EQ like this is really nice to have for tomorrow, because we can have a clue. If we break that 103 right out the gate, then it's a clue that we're going to be heading up further. But if we dip down below 99, then it's a clue that we might test this trend line. So that's something for you to watch tomorrow. And in the meantime, if you are in a position, it looks like we might be starting to see some recovery, but it's nothing that I would enter at this point yet. And just another thing I noticed about LAIX is at 96 cents, we have a daily double bottom here. So that's a clear level of support that we can watch. If that were to break, we would definitely go down further. But at this point, it's kind of looking a little bear flaggy. So I still, at this point, wouldn't enter this ticker. But if in this ticker, make sure you watch that 96 level and hope for that to hold. Okay, let's take a look at PLTR. If we just turn our indicators on, we can see and zoom back out. It's a pretty young chart. I don't have the older indicators on because, as you can see, they're not even really applicable. So let's turn those off. But I'm going to leave the 200 on just for a second, because even though it's not that applicable, I do see that we recently, had a little bit of a bounce off of it for support. So I'm going to put back the things that I've drawn here. After the ER, we had a whole bunch of strong days here, and we were starting to head up, and I drew this ascending wedge pattern, which I could see forming. I'm always on alert for these because they generally hit a top and then we break bear. So I was looking for a bear break here, and we eventually did get it. We pulled back, hit this SMA 200, and then today we have a range that we can watch. It's not really an inside bar because we're not inside the full body of yesterday, but we don't have a higher high or a lower low. So what I do in this case is I'm just going to highlight the range of today, and if we go to the hourly, look at this range. These are the levels I'm going to watch tomorrow morning. And then when I look here, I can see, looks like we could have an inverse head and shoulders possibly. It's not the best shoulder, but it's something that we could look to play out if we do get over this 26, 24 in the morning. And if we do get over that, then we'll look for another attempt at this 26.87. But getting over that would be a strong feat, because if we got over the 26.87, then we could continue upwards to a recovery here for PLTR. That's it for this ticker analysis. If you have any tickers you want to be analyzed, don't be shy. You can post them in the comments. You can message me in the Discord. The link will be in the bio. And don't forget to like the video. And if you've learned anything today and you want to learn more about charts, be sure to subscribe.